Okay, hello everyone. My name is Rich Klein, and welcome to episode 2 of the Crisis Show here on Google Hangouts and YouTube. I want to first of all welcome my esteemed co-host from Sierra Madre, California, Jonathan Bernstein of Bernstein Crisis Management. Hi, Jonathan.
Good evening.
Good evening. And from Montreal, Melissa Agnes. How you doing, Melissa?
I'm great, Rich. How are you?
Good, thanks. Is it A or hey?
It's A.
A. I got
like the Fonz.
Yeah. So folks, this week there's a lot of content, a lot of things to talk about. First off, well, not first off. I'm going to just give you some headlines, and I'll tell you the order in a minute. The first thing is what we're calling stupid PR tricks. That would be by companies as well as their PR firms. So we're going to touch on that. A tragedy in Toronto, the collapse of a stage right before a Radiohead concert, and what people are doing there, the emergency people and so forth. We're also going to talk about product recalls. It's a big issue for companies here in the States. The Food and Drug Administration mandates recalls, but there's also voluntary recalls, and there's also other agencies that recall products. So we're going to talk about that as well. But the first subject tonight is a continuation of the Sandusky trial and its impact on Penn State, the reputation of Penn State as this trial drags on with Jerry Sandusky. So I want to start with you, Melissa, because we left off with that last week, and you started to make a point. I made the point about the one bad apple, and you quickly corrected me, and thank you for that, that this was much more than just the one bad apple. So if you don't mind picking up right there, I appreciate it.
Yeah, for sure. It's just that it's not, the reason why Penn State is in so much heat is because it wasn't just Sandusky. It wasn't just the one, criminal, involved in this. At Penn State, some major authoritative players within Penn State neglectfully did not take action, and that's what involved Penn State, and that's that's a big part of the issue at hand.
Yeah, Jonathan, do you want to add anything to that? Of course,
well,
the defense rested today.
Well, it's going to be interesting to see what happens. I think many of our viewers may know that the defense rested its case today.
Yep.
And so just closing statements will be tomorrow, supposedly. But once again, we see the tremendous contrast between a court of law and a court of public opinion. Regardless of the legal outcome, the court of public opinion is going to be in session on this for a long time. And Penn State, I'm sure that's why Penn State has hired the $208,000 a month PR firm we talked about last week, because they realize that for a long time ahead, regardless of this particular trial, and there are other people still under investigation, they're going to have a long PR battle ahead of them.
Yeah, Jonathan, you and I talked offline about what we thought other universities and colleges might be doing. Do you think that they're really paying attention and changing their own practices?
I think that those that aren't paying attention and aren't trying to see whether they may have similar cultural vulnerabilities at their institutions either have their heads in the sand or in other dark places. They really need to be paying attention to this. This is a wake-up call, the same way that the Bridgestone Firestone tire mess was a wake-up call for all tire companies, the way some of the initial banking disasters were a wake-up call for all banks. Those that don't look at their own house and see if it's in order are at major risk.
Yeah, and I would just add to that it seems to me with some of the shootings on college campuses, that was, at least in my work, a wake-up call to some of my clients. So I did hear about that as well. I can imagine you did as well after Virginia Tech. So does anybody else want to add anything to this before we close the loop on Penn State?
No, just that it'll be interesting to see where it goes from here after this time.
Excuse me, folks. I had to adjust my camera angle, which in my case involves pushing my screen away from me. So.
Looks good. Looks good. All right. Okay, so we're going to move on to the next topic, and this is sort of segment we came up with this past week because we started, I mean, we've seen over the years PR people in our industry who really, let's just say they don't help the business of doing public relations. It's something I've blogged about. Jonathan, I'm sure you have as well over the years. And this week, among the stupid PR moves or tricks, however you want to call it, involved two Fortune 100 companies, maybe Fortune 50 actually, now that I think about it, right? Honeywell and Walmart. So, Jonathan, I know you blogged about this earlier this week, and you took a very strong stance. I think you said it was the worst example of PR you've ever seen with Honeywell. Can you pick up the story from there, please?
Yes, and I'd have to preface this by a couple of things. First, I'm very excited that Melissa has had contact with Mike Elk, who's the reporter for a publication called These Times, who was the victim of this worst PR behavior ever. And I think we're going to be able to have Mike on our show next week. And the other is we really wanted to show you the video involved with this. And Google, we love you for making this on-air process available to us, but unfortunately we have to give you an epic fail because we found out belatedly that by your own admission the integration with YouTube isn't working right yet. And so we're not able to yet bring you videos other than our smiling faces, of course. So that's in the plans. In the meantime, I'll do my best to describe to you what Mike Elk saw there, because he went to a Honeywell briefing by Honeywell CEO Dave Coate on labor issues, and so Elk is, Elk's had some initial questioning, and he has a valid press pass, and he's trying to get a question in that the PR guy doesn't like. And what happens is a guy starts grabbing his microphone from him, and this is how Elk described it, and I want to read this in his own words. He says, he says, I saw another, this was after the guy reached for his microphone. He said, I saw another fire exit that was nearby and ran through it to find Honeywell CEO David Coate in a room behind the set of doors. Upon seeing me, Coate and his entourage immediately began to run away and quickly exited through another set of doors. I attempted to follow Coate through that set of doors, but was blocked by the same unidentified man, the one who blocked him before, and another man whose name tag identified him as Honeywell External Communications Director Rob Ferris. That's R-O-B-F-E-R-R-I-S, in case you happen to see a resume from him anytime soon. Ferris barricaded me in the room for several minutes. Barricaded him in the room. This is, if I was Jon Stewart, I'd do one of those. But barricaded me in the room for several minutes, and afterwards had the Capitol Police detain me. They released me after 10 minutes when they realized I had done nothing more than to try to follow a CEO down the hallway. Indeed, Capitol Police asked me if I wanted to press charges against Ferris for false imprisonment for barricading me in the room. But Mike Elk, bless his generous heart, did more than I think I could have done. He declined to press charges. So,
he did.
I've seen a lot of PR guys interfere before, but this is one of the worst. Melissa, I think you had a comment on that.
Yeah, just that. I read something today. Mike has been tweeting about it frequently, actually, since the event, and he said that he took the weekend to reflect. At the time when he was asked if he'd like to press charges, he was, flustered and frustrated and angry, of course. He said no. He took the weekend to reflect, and he decided that he would like to press charges. And then today, about 5, maybe 7 hours ago now, he tweeted, and I'm going to read you his tweet. It says, U.S. Attorney's Office has declined prosecute GOP staff Nick Muzzin, who assaulted me during a Q&A of Honeywell CEO. So he's been denied that prosecution, or that legal pursuit. So I'm very interested to have him on the show next week.
Well, once again, we have the difference between the court of law and the court of public opinion, because the court of public opinion is going to be all over that decline.
Especially the way he's hitting it with social media. As he should be.
Good. Well, Mike, I know you're out there. We look forward to having you on the show.
Yes.